Hi guys, Spartan765 here today. Today I'm doing a video based on a couple things I've seen on forums, and a couple comments I've received. Well, not received, but just more or less discussion going on in a couple of my videos. People are, wondering why I'm partial to the XDM 45, and, why I like this gun so much. And what I'm mainly going to go over in this video is, you'll see on forums, and one thing that'll turn a lot of people, or not a lot of people, but any uninformed person away from this, is people say this is just a combination of a bunch of MIM parts. If you're not familiar with what MIM is metal injection molding. It's a form of precision, I don't want to say casting, but it's similar to casting. It's precision injection into small molds. That it's literally like they have a mini mold that they make all the little smaller parts in, like your magazine release, and they inject it in there. And the density of it is like 99 point something percent now. Anyway, that's just what I'm pretty sure that the XDMs are, as far as the material density. Taurus's MIM parts, I believe it's 96%. Now, MIM parts can be okay, or MIM parts can be crap. It all depends on the manufacturer. Metal injection molding is a modern process. It was developed back in the 70s as a way to precision manufacture small parts at a lower cost. Now, if this gun was all milled steel, I mean, if every individual little piece on here was milled, the gun would probably cost around over $1,000, because there's a lot more time and effort that goes into that. Now, I'm a proponent of researching the manufacturer heavily if I'm going to buy a gun that has MIM parts in it, to make sure that their density is great enough and that they're, using the proper process. Now, Springfield Armory utilizes nothing but the top-of-the-line manufacturing facilities and manufacturing equipment. The MIM parts they make are very good, very durable, and very reliable. Now, some firearms with MIM parts that I have seen issues with, just a couple issues, is Taurus. Taurus and some cheaper, there's a lot of lower-end 1911 manufacturers out there. You get a 1911 for $500. It's got a lot of MIM parts in it, and the density in that isn't quite what it needs to be. Now, MIM has a great compressive, or MIM metals they're just like cast metals. They have a great compression strength. Their tensile strength generally is not as strong as that of milled steel or forged steel. Now, another gun I have over here, people say, oh, well, Glock this, Glock that. Glock doesn't have any MIM parts in it. That is not true. Glock, again, though, they have a few MIM parts. They are top of the line as far as quality goes on their MIM machines. I'm going to go over which parts are in here MIM and which parts are, not MIM. And the XDM has, as far as polymer handguns go these days, it's got, I would say, maybe a little bit, I don't want to say a little bit more, but slightly above average for MIM parts that, like let's say a Glock or a Smith & Wesson M&P would have. And that's mainly just because of the mechanism inside, like the sear setup and the Glock, and the sear, the firing pin, the safety release, the connecting bar, it's all one piece of stamped steel. There are a couple intricate pieces in here that make up that assembly. There's a firing pin disconnect, a firing pin safety disconnect, and a sear that's independent from the connecting bar, or the trigger bar. Alright, now we're going to go over what's MIM and what's not. Hang on here, guys. I'm just going to, well, actually, no, I'll go over the externals here first. No, actually, I'm sorry. I'm going to take these apart quick, so just bear with me. Okay, I'm going to set the camera up just like this here. Alright. This is a snap cap. I do not like dry firing Glocks. Because one of the rarer problems that can occur with repeated dry fire, this is over thousands of rounds, is a cracked breech face. Okay, now I'll go over that in another video, because I've had people ask me questions about that too, and people saying, well, should I just not even consider a Glock, because of the cracked breech face problem. That's a very rare isolated issue and occurs over several thousand dry fires. Okay. Alright, now that I got these weapons apart here, I don't need to take them apart anymore to go over which parts are MIM and which parts are not. Alright, now you say that the Glock is better. People say, well, because it doesn't have as many MIM parts. Yeah, well, the Glock has a polymer guide rod. There's nothing wrong with that, the way the gun is set up, okay? Alright, but we're not talking about polymer in this video, we're talking about MIM. Alright, so I'm going to try and set these up here so they do not tip over. Alright, we're going to go over your MIM parts. The XDM here has a MIM sear, a MIM firing pin safety disconnect. It has a MIM locking block, okay? The locking block also acts as the slide rail, as you can see right there. And, you know, a lot of guns, the locking block does, you know, have the slide rail as part of the cast. Other MIM parts on here are the takedown lever, the slide release. Now, there's a difference between a slide release and a slide stop. Now, or a slide catch. These are both called slide catch and a slide release. There's a couple different terminologies, but a slide stop is actually what you'd see on a Glock. That's the takedown lever. That's the technical term for it. Alright, now as far as other MIM parts go on the XDM in here, you have your actual magazine release itself. The button for the magazine release is MIM. Your grip safety, you call your grip safety, your palm safety, that's also MIM as well. Let's see here, what other parts on here might be MIM? I know what all parts are MIM, I'm just trying to see if I forgot anything on here. Okay, I don't think so, but here, I'll go over the stamp parts now on the XDM. The stamp parts are the ejector. This here is your disconnector, which is connected to your trigger bar, which is part of the trigger bar. That's so your gun doesn't go full auto, uncontrolled. And as far as stamp parts go on the XDM, I think that's about it. You just got, oh yeah, and your connecting bar here for your sear connecting bar for your takedown lever. That's so you can take the gun down without having to dry fire to take it apart first. Okay, now we're going to go over the slide for MIM parts. MIM parts in your slide consist of the front and the rear sight are metal injection molded. Okay. Now what else is a MIM part here is your striker itself, the firing pin safety, and I do not believe that the extractor itself is a MIM part, because that's a tensile part. I believe that is forged or machined. Alright. Oh, also on the back here, whoop, there the gun tips over. You got your slide plate on the back here. This is also a MIM part. Okay. That's all for the MIM parts in the Glock, or I mean the XDM. Oh, also too, I'm pretty sure that the pins themselves may be MIM. No, I take that back. The pins are milled. I'm sorry, the pins are milled. Alright, so we're going to set the Glock aside, or damn it, I'm mixing up my words. We're going to set the XDM aside. We're going to go over MIM parts in the Glock, and it's considerably less than the XDM. Alright, now the MIM parts in your Glock, we'll start with the frame as we did with the XDM. Your MIM parts in your Glock are your locking block here. Your slide stop, which is also your takedown lever. That's your, slide stop, that's the technical term for it. But that's your takedown right there. That's a MIM part as well. As far as anything else in the inside of the gun here, there's no more MIM parts, to my knowledge. There's just the two. Alright. Now we're going to go over the stamp parts on here. Your slide rails, these are stamped steel. What this looks like without the plastic here, this is coated and covered in plastic, or polymer. Polymer is just a fancy word for plastic. This is a very strong system right here. Gaston Glock was no idiot. He pioneered the polymer handgun, and these guns are very durable. Now, and then so is the back slide rails, your sear and trigger bar and firing pin safety. It's all connected. It's all one piece. That's another ingenious design. Your connector right here, that is also a stamp piece. Your trigger housing is actually plastic injection molding. well, that's essentially the same thing that the frame is too. Plastic injection molding is similar to metal injection molding. That plastic, which is a very durable plastic, Glock, I can't remember if it's Zytel they use or what the exact name of the brand of plastic is, but it's very durable. And also here you got your slide release is also stamped, and you got your magazine release is polymer. Now there is nothing wrong with that. It is supposed to be polymer because the magazine catch on here is polymer. This is a polymer coated steel magazine. Now if you go and you replace this polymer magazine release with an aluminum one, titanium one, or steel one, you will rapidly eat away this lip right here. There's a reason the mag release is polymer. Leave it like that. There's no need to change it out. Like I said, Gaston Glock was a genius as far as, he was a plastics expert. So, I mean, all the guns, all the Glocks have polymer magazine releases. There's nothing wrong with that. Alright, now I'm going to go over the MIM parts on the slide. Alright, there are few on here. The only MIM parts in the slide that we got here is actually just this firing pin safety. To the best of my knowledge, the actual striker, firing pin safety or striker safety, whatever you want to call it. To my knowledge, the striker here is actually milled. Now that I'm going to go over the difference here quickly between a firing pin and a striker. A striker is a spring-loaded firing pin, like this here. A firing pin, or spring-loaded firing pin, where the energy from the spring contained on the striker is used to fire the round. Now there's spring-loaded firing pins, spring return, auto return firing pins. Those are not strikers. Firing pins are devices that are impacted by another object to ignite the primer. Alright, now as far as there is no obviously no stamp parts on here, but I'm going to go over the polymer parts. Now you have a really nice recoil spring. It's a flat steel spring. It's a captive spring with a polymer guide rod. Again, you can replace that with an aluminum or a steel, or I'd either go with titanium or steel if you're going to do it, but again, it's not necessary. Even if this gun is fired a couple thousand rounds, heats up so much that this melts, the gun will still cycle. And that's proven on a video where a guy actually did that on YouTube, which is kind of amazing. Oh, I did forget one MIM part on here. Sorry about that. The other MIM part is your extractor itself, as well as the plunger right here for the extractor. I'm sorry, two MIM parts. And the front and rear sight on a stock Glock are polymer sights. Now, that's one of the things I kind of don't like, but they're high impact polymer. And I'm trying to find some metal sights, some night sights, but I really, really like the Glock sight profile. I mean, I can't find any metal sights or steel sights that have that same profile. Otherwise, they would have been replaced already. Okay, so as far as MIM parts go, you can very clearly see that the XDM 45 has a significant amount more than the Glock does. And like I said, Springfield Armory is a leader as far as MIM parts go. Taurus is Taurus. It's not a high-grade gun. It's not a shitty gun. It's lower middle end, lower end mid-grade. Tauruses aren't for people who go out and shoot all day at the range. They're for someone who gets a nightstand gun, or someone who's going to buy the gun and maybe take it out to the range twice a year. All right. Oh, another thing I'm going to mention too is a thing that I've heard, from people. They're thinking they maybe don't want to buy an XDM because they hear that this is a polymer. The guide rails on the back are polymer. Okay, they're thick polymer, and the way this gun is designed, these are not under any stress at all. These just control the side-to-side cant, and even with these, if those weren't on there, the cant wouldn't be that much. 95% of the force impact is taken by this full, massive locking block up here. And if you can look in the Glock, the locking block is considerably smaller. Never mind that this is a 9mm and this is a 45, but on the XDM 9, it is the same size, and the same, shape generally. generally speaking. So, you know, these polymer guide rails back here, there's no problem with that. I mean, I've been on forums, there's guys who shot, you know, 10,000 rounds through their XDM, and these are still perfectly fine. So, I mean, that's just to settle the dispute right there over MIM parts in an XDM and what's in a Glock. And now, I haven't done a review on a Smith & Wesson M&P, but I'm going to be picking one up here soon, and I'll do a review on that and go over a MIM part count on that as well. You know, but as far as, you know, again, you know, we're getting off topic here, but I'm pretty much done with the main discussion. The camera might cut off because my cell phone here, I think it only lets it go for 17 or 20 minutes, I can't remember. But I mean, as far as, you know, quality of the gun, you know, it's like, you know, back and forth. You like a Chevy or you like a Ford, you know? That same kind of concept. Both of these guns are, I would say, damn near equally reliable. I mean, if I had to give it to it in the long term, like this is just, if something broke first, I would honestly have to say, possibly the Glock, but very close, possibly the XDM. And the only reason I might lean a little bit, just a couple millimeters more towards saying the Glock might be a teensy bit more reliable, and that's because this entire piece here is one unit. The trigger bar, the sear, and the firing pin safety disconnect, it's all one piece. You know, but the Glock here, or the XDM here, it's got a very beefy sear. I mean, none of that's really going to break. I mean, unless, you know, you take a screwdriver in there and rip it out. So, I mean, both these guns have their pluses. Both these guns have their minuses. One thing I always tell people when they're looking to buy a gun, a lot of people, before they even hold a gun, will get, you know, I'm actually going to do that, go over that in another video, buying a handgun. But yeah, if you guys got any comments or questions on this video, feel free to send me a message. Oh, one more thing I was going to go over with these here. Forgot. The magazines. I went over a little bit of the Glock. Being that the Glocks are polymer coated steel, you get a little bit thicker of a magazine. You know, this is a 45 in the XDM, and this is a 9mm for the Glock. The Glock magazine is only about a half a millimeter narrower than the XDM magazine. The only thing I don't like about Glocks, if you get a Glock 21, even a slim frame, they're really, really beefy. You know, so unless you got really big hands, they're not exactly that comfortable to hold or shoot. But, alright, I'll get into that in another video. Alright, comments, questions, send me a message, Spartan765, out.